Welcome to the Creative Entrepreneur Show. What do we have this week, Brian?
Hey, Rosh, happy to be here. One of two creative guys talking AI. And yeah, this week, I've got some what I think just really good overall advice for using AI. And it's something also that harkened back to a meeting that we had earlier this week. So my
Yeah.
first one, good to talk about the principle of just asking for more and some of the different ways that maybe you hadn't thought of. And it's just something that really we need to hammer into people's heads. And then also just how important it's going to be in the future to be found on AI and some
hmm
strategies on that. I'll admit it's a little self-serving. I'm talking about social media a little bit, and but I think it's necessary here. So, throw it back to you. What do you have going on?
Well, it's all about all the buzz was Canvas last week, and so we'll talk a little bit about Canvas and artifacts. It's basically, we'll talk about it in a few moments, and I'm going to continue on with the discussion we had last week with InVideo. I remember I said I was going to run a test. Well, I did so, and it's interesting. It's not exactly what I was thinking that it was, but it is something of value that I think people will appreciate for presentations.
Awesome. All right. Well, very good. I'm excited to see the follow-up on that. So, but yes. All right. So one of the basic principles of AI and something that, we're all just kind of getting used to as entrepreneurs and people who are using this is that it's not a one-way conversation.
Right.
And you're not going to get the most out of AI on a single prompt. You're just not. And, there's so many different ways that you can follow up with these prompts to get more. And my eyes were kind of open to this weekend when I was working on some blog ideas and some different things, and actually some blog ideas about our next topic. And I kept just needling it and kept just pushing it for more and more and be like, you know what,
Mhm.
this is okay. I like this, but I want you to go deeper on this, go
Yeah.
deeper on this. So keep pushing it. And some things to do is, say if you are getting a response and you're looking for it, some different things you can ask of it is say, hey, maybe give me this response from different viewpoints.
Yeah.
Maybe say, hey, how would a different generation answer this question? How would a baby boomer versus a Gen X versus a millennial versus, any of the younger generations, how would they think about this? So that's a whole different way of, getting a response back and say, hey, frame it from this point of view, this lens. Other things that you can do is just adding constraints and conditions. So, add limitations to it to make sure it's not all over across the board and that you're really laser focused on the answer that you're trying to get from it. So, just there should be almost like a checklist of like your 6 or 7 ways to follow up to every prompt that you get. And one of the ones that I like to do is, I like to get a full list of ideas. I like to say, hey, give me a top 25, a top 10, top 15, and then say, hey, great, I love ideas 1, 3, and 7. Let's develop something on these where you can blend these different ideas together or say, hey, elaborate on idea 1 or idea 2 and give me, a whole different perspective and idea on that. So it's just there's all these different directions that you can go. Um, and you could challenge these responses. You can always just be like, write it better. And that's actually one
Yeah.
that I've used. And it sounds so basic to, just say, say something simple like that, but I've actually gotten like a really good response. I'll say, hey, this is too flowery for, social media. I want you to write it better. I want
Mhm.
you just to be smarter about it. You're writing too flowery, you're adding too many emojis, you're doing this or that. And the Hemingway hack that we've harkened back to
Sure.
before in the past. And so, just when you get a response, just always be challenging it and understand that to really get somewhere on AI, um, you know, you can't just take that initial response. You've really got to mold it and you've got to work it. It is a job. And in that constantly I need to remind our audience, it's like, we're not competing against just AI. We're competing against people who really know how to use AI in this world.
Absolutely.
And our competition's just getting better and better and better at
As
it.
more people are
So
using it. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're just understanding the concept of it. Again, we had a meeting last week with a client, and the other gentleman that was in the room, he's like, "Oh yeah, saw it from day one, and I thought about going this direction, this direction, this direction with it."
Mhm.
And everybody's brains work differently, and they're going to see this tool and its unlimited capability in some different directions, and their brain is just going to be able to run with it. And our job on this show is to constantly give the right advice and the right right
Yep.
ways to push people to get that really, really good answer. And I'm going to follow up on this content when I talk a little bit about social media, because everyone's like,
Right.
oh, yeah, AI, I use it just to create social media. And it's like, no, 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 no. Garbage in, garbage out. You're really got to work it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Garbage
So,
in, garbage out, basic in, basic out. I mean,
right.
it really,
You're not going to stand apart from your competition because everyone's going to try to take that cheap, easy shortcut to,
yeah.
get content out there. So, I'll touch on that a little bit, but here's a really cool example of a way you can ask for more. And this is practical. This goes, in our daily lives. So, say we got the holidays coming up and a lot of people will do a little mini kind of weight loss for a month in October. So that way they can
Mhm.
go through the holidays, kind of guilt free. And everyone's been like, okay, yeah, you can have a weight loss plan. You can set a goal and get some information from ChatGPT, and then you can say, hey, design a workout plan. Yes, yes, okay, that's cool. All right, design it maybe around this injury that I've got or something going on. All right, so then a next step, design a meal plan to go along with it. And then there's a few more steps you can take to really, really narrow this down and say, hey, you know what? I only want to have foods on here that are specific to Michigan in November. So, don't recommend me any watermelon because I'm not going to find it anywhere or
Mhm.
anything like that. And so you get, asking more of it. And then eventually you can actually ask it to make you an organized shopping list based upon the store that you're going to. Now, I asked ChatGPT if it knew the layout of the exact store, and it said, no, I don't know the specifics, but I know, say, the Kroger brand. I know in general how they set their stores up.
Yeah.
And it's going to utilize, that information. Then I said, all right, what if I got a hold of a screenshot of an overhead that showed all the departments and the layout of the store? Could you use that to then make my list better? And it was like, yes, absolutely. Please give me more and more information, and I will continue to give you a better answer. Essentially, is what ChatGPT said. And that's the basis of my point here. And again, I know it's a pretty basic kind of simple point when it comes to AI, but I think it's one of the absolute most important points to consistently make is that, if you don't find that you're getting the answer out of it, then maybe you got to look inward and say, hey, am I asking the right questions?
Yeah.
So, are there any, question hacks or asking for more types of ways that you typically go to?
No, I mean, I think to the point, the basic in, basic out, great, genius in, genius out. I mean, you really just go down garbage in, garbage out. I mean, really, you got to work your way through that. And one of the things, to your point about digging deeper, one easy way to do that is over the last 10 days, uh, OpenAI has been rolling out the voice function
Mm-hmm.
at the high level, the advanced one, and it is awesome to be able to say, no, no, that's not, because before you would ask a question, you have to wait till it's done with its 10, list of 10 answers or 10 options. We say, no, 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 I was talking about this, and oh, okay, and just having a conversation
Yeah.
and going deeper. Say, yeah, no, no, but how about this idea? And let's take that and explore it deeper. And so
Mhm.
you don't even have to write it out. You don't have to type, you just talk about it and just keep challenging it deeper
Yeah.
and deeper and deeper. And some of these ideas that pop out are amazing. Things you never would have thought of before.
Right. Yeah. Especially if you're asking it to blend genres and themes and trends and different things, and it's able to make connections and extrapolate points that you maybe wouldn't have made these connections before.
Yeah, well, you
Um,
know what? One of the things that I find, I had a friend of mine pick it up, and he's been struggling with it, and I say, usually when you first pick it up and ask a question, it's like, how far away is the sun, and just as guilty. I mean, I ask those
Mhm.
kinds of questions too, but then you say, no, I was like, what is the problem that we were just discussing that you want to deal with? Well, it's not going to know the answer. Yes, yes, it will. It'll give you some prompts and
Mhm.
ideas to help you think it further. And so he did. He said, well, I need to know about this. How can you solve this problem for me? And it came out with some ideas like, wow. Well, then he started going deeper. And it really started to like, oh, yeah, here we go. The conversation. Somebody's really trying to find the answers for me.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. And the nice thing is he also said, hey, is there text available? It's like, well, everything you just talked about is in text form on your
Yeah.
phone.
You
So
get a
just take it and
transcript.
run.
Yeah.
So
Now, but there is a warning though. You can get a little too attached to these, right? What did
that's right.
OpenAI say?
Pick the voice.
Yeah.
Pick the voice wisely.
Yeah. We don't need to be falling in love with our robots yet. So All right, but yeah, throw back your way here for Canvas. Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, Canvas. So, well, OpenAI decided that they were going to go directly at Claude with artifacts. Claude is still considered one of the better AIs, if not the best. It really is solid, and people are really gravitating to it. And when they came out with artifacts, it's almost like a game changer especially for those who are coding. And Canvas is great for coding. And not only that, it'll show you the code and then right next to your prompts. But then when you say, oh, via text, say, oh, upgrade this, it'll go through, kind of show you like a line by line kind of changes. And it's more of a, I think it's a better visual feel to it. It's a not necessary visual feel, but it's a better visual feel. And it works out really well. And it kind of prompted me to say, as you and I know, we have, well, I've created some websites that with AI. And when we first were talking, I had created a couple of websites, but I had a little help from some other programmers who had made some plugins and some support things that made it easy for me to pull it into, say, a WordPress site, and then I could build off of that.
Mhm.
I decided, it is time for me to go direct. And so over the last number of days, I've done that. And it really has opened up an entire world of feeling like I can create just about anything. I
Yeah.
can analyze and do just about anything. And just in time, with the Canvas feature really just kind of pushed me to start pushing my coding now that I know that I have that support, or I'm willing to take those risks, I guess. Sometimes you just have to take the risks, or I think we both have looked at some of these things like, man, this is a lot of work.
Yes.
This is, and but
That's
here's
yeah.
the thing. I asked the AI said, here's the best way to go about it. And it was a little more complex. But I say, but this is what I'm comfortable with. Can you do it this way? I'm used to
Hmm.
coding like this.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, we'll do it that way. And then it just opened up the doors. Like, okay, here we are. And now I know where to go with it. Not that I don't want to learn the other stuff, but this allowed me to really tap in a way that I know I can springboard as we move down in the line. And so yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to do that and to know that, look, anybody can start creating. And I've learned so much about the importance of the fact that we are all going to have to be the people that guide the AI.
Hmm.
It's going to take a while for AI to be what everybody is fearful of. I mean, a long way away, I think.
Hmm.
I don't want to say a long way ways, but some of the basic stuff we've talked about within 2 years on the creative front, but we're still going to need to be the directors. And so I'm finding that the more I get into it, the more I realize the limitations and the fact that we're still needed. Yes, it's true. Some of B-roll photography, B-roll video may not be as easy. Some of the are is going to be a lot easier to get a hold of, but still, we still have to be there. Anyway, I'm going to go on for a while on that. So I'll stop there and pass it back on to you because I will probably talk in circles for an hour. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you've kind of broken down that wall. I know we talked about it this weekend and you're very
Yeah.
excited about it. And, I've gone to that. I've tried to, I get the ideas going to create some of these bigger things, and it's felt a little more intimidating for me
Yeah.
than not. So I might tap you on your shoulder there a little
Yeah.
bit and lean to try to push my initiatives along too. So that's exciting. So, all right, yes, we share a few clients, obviously, in what we do, and one of the very important things in the marketing world that we do and how we help our clients is making sure that they're found online. Whether that be through Google search, but now AI search, whether it be Perplexity or Chat GPT. And we've got another shared client that gave us that, hey, we got a call for a
Yeah.
pretty big job and we got found on Chat GPT. How the heck did that happen? And that's music to our ears, especially with us kind of being the 1-2 punch on that. So
Mhm.
I want to touch on that a little bit to our audience right now. And this is more not so much how to use the AI, but how to have the AI work for you and let you be found. Because when you were so used to looking up something on a Google search, and, getting pages of queries and, of answers and stuff that, come back. And, and Google, it gives you its sponsored ones. It can give you, it's got its whole way of being able to suggest content. Whereas ChatGPT or the AIs, they're a little different. Where, hey, my gutters are falling off my house and I'm in Farmington Hills, Michigan. What can I do about it? And it's going to say, hey, here's the top three, and it's typically top three. I mean, I know
Right.
we've seen
It is.
some variation in that. And these are the top three reputable companies in your area that you might want to engage to get this fixed. And it's like, oh my gosh, how is the AI reading what's on the internet, and how does it know who to suggest? And while Google, social media is still very important. Primarily because you drive a lot of traffic to the website and it validates the website in the eyes of Google. I'm talking your language here a little bit
Yep.
more. And, provides, just authority for that website. And also now Google is indexing in its search results, posts from X or LinkedIn or Instagram, stuff like that. I've noticed a
Yep.
change to where, for example, with my band, I've got a very specific song title and I'm like, hey, we released this song. Can I find it? And I'll type it in Google and I'll find my Instagram things that I've
Hmm.
uploaded,
Right.
that
Anything
reference
public.
exactly
Yeah.
that name. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, that's kind of new. I haven't been able to find an Instagram post on Google. So, your social media posts still super important on there. But here's where the difference is on AI. AI isn't just looking for the fact that you're posting on social media and that you're putting up regularly. It's looking for your reputation. It's
Yep.
looking for what people are saying about you on socials or how people are interacting with your posts. Most importantly, it's looking and saying, hey, the content they're posting, are people sharing it? It's looking at the actual Facebook algorithm factors. And, a share is the number one thing in the Facebook algorithm where it's like,
Yeah.
hey, this post is doing great. People are sharing it. They think this is valuable information worth sharing.
Right.
And what's happening now is if people are constantly using AI to create their social media content, it's less and less shareable.
Right.
It's not that, super, on site, really good advice or something that's proprietary to, say if they're a plumber and they're talking about, this specific thing to make your hot water tank last longer and different things like that. And, to actually have a video of somebody showing it and it being original, good content. Now, can you use AI to help maybe write the caption a little bit? Or to have an overall plan to get those bits of videos? Yes, you can use it to get the ideas, but don't just use AI to fully create the content and push it right out,
Right.
because it's going to know that it was written by AI. It's not going to give you the strength that you need to be then recognized by the AIs. So you need to be that differentiator in your creative endeavors to be
Bringing in
recognized and be that.
experience and insight,
Yeah.
and statistics and, unique information. I mean, the internet is eventually just going to, I mean, it is now, but it's really going to start craving that. And
Yes.
if you're not providing that unique side to it, to your point, a plumber, if you're
Yeah.
not bringing some unique tips versus what your standard basic in, basic out AI would say are the top 10 tips, you're not going to be recognized because there's going to be a million plumber pages with those basic tips in some form, just written a little bit differently.
Exactly. Yeah, because they're not pushing. They're not, back to my first point, they're not asking
Yep.
for more. Or
Right.
they're not, when I say ask for more, you can upload a sheet full of data. You can upload, Excel sheets, Word documents full of all the information, all of your arguments and everything, and say, all right, now use that information to create this post. And that's one of those differentiating factors. That's one
And
of those
and
things.
and, and to your point there, you can also train the AIs. We're just talking about how I had, uh, started working on developing AI tools directly, with the direct API from OpenAI, and you can do the
Mhm.
same with Claude at some level too. The thing is, you can also create your own AI by offering it information. You upload all that information, then it'll give you a unique API that pulls directly, so it's only coming from you, or
Right.
it's only doing stuff based off of your insight. So even if you are using AI, using a custom AI that really represents you and your approach could at least be a much better solution than the basic in, basic out.
Well, yeah, because then you're not tapping the whole, internet that it would normally go through to get your basic
Yeah,
answer.
it'd be your writings, your brain, your output, that your philosophy. And
Right.
so that's
And
that's something I'm exploring more and more to play with. So that's
good. Well, because that's something I might need your help with, because obviously you're a bit more experienced in the programming world. And, we've got, our company's now a decade old. So we have 10 years worth of approved content. And
right.
approved content means that the client liked it or we've made edits. But, that's an important part of it.
Yeah,
And, I don't want to upload 10 years worth of content just to the general internet brain and have it, have other companies be writing social media in the way that we do.
right.
So yeah, I very much want to make a proprietary, program that, takes our information, stores it, and then extrapolates from there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
All right, tossing it back to you. How was your test with InVideo?
So invideo.ai is a platform that, well, we talk about the Husky and the Daisy field, and so I had it do that. But what it did, the output was not what I was expecting, and I should have known better. I guess I could have read a little bit more. But what it does is actually create a narrated presentation. And it doesn't create the imagery, it doesn't create the videos, it pulls the video and imagery from other sources, but it tells a story. And it was really good. It just shared information about Huskies and what to expect from them. And so I did a couple more that kind of dug in a little deeper, like, tell me more about the relationship, say, between a Husky and an Australian Shepherd, or what is the difference? And then it was a whole presentation between the two. This is what you'll get with a Husky, and this is what you'll get with the Australian Shepherd, and there's images placed in throughout, and most of it's kind of stock, basic stuff, and even some of it did have the the logos, like the Getty logo, for example, on there. I don't know if you can get rid of that with a higher paid version. I use the
Right.
basic version. So there, but if you are looking for, again, back to the old adage that will be continued, garbage in, garbage out. Put in a great prompt, and this tool will create a really cool presentation. It's about a minute long, at least the ones that I received, and so and it kept my interest. And so I thought that it's a different way of using these tools. It's not pulling the resources to create new imagery, to create something that may be wrong, or the head of one dog's on the head of the other dog, and then doing some flip flop that's not these are real images that it's
Okay.
using. And so
That's
that
what
make
my main question for you is. We've very much developed an AI eye to see
yeah,
things, and I can tell immediately when things are made by AI for the most
right.
part. What
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
your,
And it hasn't been that long, and we've talked about we can see the writing, we can see the images, we can see, and yes, they'll be refined, but they'll still be that thing
yeah.
that we can see, at least for a while. I don't know. I mean,
Right. Yeah. I'm scared for when we can't detect it, because
yeah,
I
yeah,
know it's getting to the point where maybe, our parents or other people, can get a little fooled if they're not too, internet savvy and been doing it for a while.
yeah,
So
right,
yeah,
right.
it's getting close.
Very
So,
good.
but yeah, I want to play with that again. I'm very much on the, the creative side of things. I want to try to make music videos and, get my band's music out in different ways. And I feel like this is another direction that I can go where I can at least take clips from it, or,
Yeah.
upload our lyrics and upload our imagery and our logo and stuff like that, and have them see what it does with it.
Yeah, when I did it, I didn't upload anything. It was just the
Okay.
prompt. So that's a good point. It might be worth looking to see if that's something you can do. I'm
Hmm.
assuming it is. You can provide it, and then it'll fill in the blanks if it doesn't have all the elements it needs. But yeah,
Right.
let me know if you start playing with it. It would be worth an update, because obviously I didn't explore it that deeply to see if that was an option, or
Well,
if
then
it's an option at a higher level feature.
I will make a promise to you and our audience that I will have a follow up on that next week.
Very good. Wow. 3 weeks of invideo.ai.
Perfect. That's almost
There.
like they're paying us. They are not,
They're
but
not.
they
Maybe they
should be.
should, huh? Hey. So anyway. All right. Well, that good show. A lot of information this week. I think as we continue to move forward, we will, as I mentioned before, we'll start to create some more videos. Kind of really maybe showing people what we're talking about. And so this week I'm going to do an in video. No, I am not doing an in video. You're doing the in video. I'm going to do the Canvas example. I'm going to show you what I'm doing on Canvas, just a few minute video to give you an idea of what you can do on Canvas with Chat GPT. It is already in there. If you look in there, it's part of the drop down. You'll say Chat GPT 4.0 Canvas, and that'll give you the option to work in that environment. And that's really what it is. It's just an environment, especially if you like to code and create that way. That's a great option.
Awesome. Well, very good. We are continuing to field requests for guests coming in the show. And obviously, if anyone has any topic you want us to cover, please feel free to reach out to us. Our email is on our website there, creativeentrepreneursshow.com. And otherwise, if you're listening to this and you want to see just how handsome we are in person, I encourage everyone to go over to our YouTube page and be able to follow and watch the show there. And until then, we are two creative guys talking AI.